Hi, I'm Joy, and I want to ask you a straightforward question. How long will you wait to have time to finally change your life? There's an uncomfortable truth few people admit. Time never appears out of thin air. We rush, make excuses, hide behind our busy schedules, but deep down, we know we're putting off the very thing that could transform our lives. The paradox is simple. You won't have time until you decide to create it. And this is where the turning point begins. When you understand that time is created through the small choices of daily life, everything changes. It's not about waking up with 3 hours free. It's about knowing how to make the most of the 15 minutes you already have. It's counterintuitive, even controversial, because the world insists that you need perfect organization. But the truth is that those who create the habit of creating time also create the opportunity to write a future much bigger than they imagined. And since you've made it this far, let me tell you, subscribing to this channel is one of the smartest investments you can make right now. Every week, I bring you content that will help you transform not only your English, but also the way you view your routine and habits. Click here and subscribe, because each video is like a little push to help you build, step by step, the most powerful version of yourself. 1. The time illusion trap. You know that when I have time, I'll start mindset. That's exactly where many people get stuck. Time doesn't fall from the sky. It doesn't appear out of nowhere in your routine. If you wait for the perfect moment, it simply won't arrive. There will always be an extra task, an unexpected commitment, a message that steals your attention. What keeps you stuck isn't a lack of time, but the illusion that at some magical moment it will open up on its own. Listener, I want you to realize this in a practical way. How many times have you told yourself that you would start studying English when you had a free hour? And then at the end of the day, that hour never existed. What really happens is that time hides in the details, in the little gaps you ignore. The mistake is thinking that the future will organize your schedule without you doing anything now. This thought is an invitation for procrastination to take hold and take root. The find time mentality is treacherous because it gives you a sense of control. It seems like you just have to wait for the opportunity to present itself. But in practice, it's the opposite. You're the one who needs to create it. Otherwise, each day becomes a repetition of the last, and the feeling of stagnation grows. This is the first trap that prevents you from moving forward, and it's also the key to beginning to see the hidden spaces in your routine, which are already ripe for exploration. 2. The time archaeology method. Now that you understand that time won't miraculously appear, comes the interesting part, digging into your own routine like an archaeologist. It's amazing to realize how many time fossils are buried in our daily lives. Those 10 minutes spent in traffic waiting for the light to change, the 15 minutes before bed scrolling through your phone, or even that gap between tasks where you don't do anything productive. These fragments, when added together, reveal entire hidden hours. If you pay close attention, you'll see that it's not a lack of time that hinders your English, but a lack of awareness about how you use small spaces. Try mapping out your day in blocks and noting where each minute goes. You'll realize that there's much more margin than you imagined. When I first did this exercise, I was surprised by how much I wasted on micro distractions that seemed harmless, but added up, they became an abyss. And here's a simple action you can take now. Choose one of these fossils and put it into practice. If you have 15 minutes before bed, you can use that time to review a set of words you've written down in your notes app, listen to a short podcast, or even write a couple of sentences in English about your day. It's like recovering a forgotten piece of the past and giving it a new purpose. And the more you practice this archaeologist's eye, the easier it becomes to identify hidden treasures in your routine, and they're about to multiply. Topic 3. the micro-moment revolution. It's time to change the way you view useful time. Many people believe that studying English is only worthwhile if they can set aside a full hour in silence without interruptions. But the truth is that 5, 10, or 15-minute chunks have transformative power. The secret is to stop waiting for long free blocks and start using the gaps you already have, right now. Think about it. 5 minutes may seem like nothing, but it's enough to review a set of words you've written down, practice pronouncing a sentence, or even listen to a short podcast. 10 minutes can be used to write a short text about your day. 15 minutes is enough to watch a short video in English and repeat a few phrases out loud. If these micro moments become a habit, in a few weeks you'll have studied more than those who wait for the perfect time to start. What changes the game isn't the amount of time at once, but the consistency of using the chunks that repeat every day. Have you ever noticed how brushing your teeth takes only a few minutes, but makes a huge difference in your life over time? The same is true here. These micro moments, when accumulated, create a silent revolution. And it's precisely this revolution that prepares you for the next step, understanding what needs to be removed from your list to make room for what truly matters. 4. The priority surgery. Now, let's open your routine as if it were an operating table. If you look closely, you'll notice that not everything that takes up space in your day is truly important. Some activities drain energy and yield no return. And this is where the need to cut them back sharply comes in. You can't fit English in if your schedule is clogged with distractions disguised as commitments. It's as if the excess is blocking the flow of what truly matters. Look at your last 24 hours and be honest. How much time did you spend aimlessly scrolling through social media? How much time did you spend engaging in conversations that led nowhere? Imagine if those 30 minutes were swapped for English listening practice, or if you used that time to review common conversational phrases. The results would be immediate, but the sense of progress would be even greater. Small changes like these create space for what previously seemed impossible. This priority surgery isn't about living without leisure, but rather making smart choices. You can set aside time to relax, but you need to balance it with blocks of time that foster growth. When you realize that every minute spent on something empty is a lost opportunity, your outlook changes completely. The next step is understanding how to transform these choices into consistent rituals that protect your time and transform it into something almost sacred. Topic 5. The time creation ritual. Now that you've learned to cut out the excess, it's time to consciously manufacture time. Creating sacred blocks in your routine is like making room in a schedule that seemed too full. It doesn't matter if you start with 20 minutes earlier in the morning or 15 minutes at night. The important thing is that this time is protected, treated as untouchable. It's in these small rituals that the consistency that no one can steal from you is born. Think of something simple. Waking up 20 minutes earlier. This time can be used to read in English, practice pronunciation, or even write 3 sentences describing your plans for the day. Or turn your afternoon coffee break into a quick vocabulary review. When these rituals are repeated, they create such a natural rhythm that they stop feeling like effort. They become part of your identity. And the big difference is that by creating time, you take control. You don't wait for the day to open up space by chance. You create that space. This sense of ownership over your routine is powerful because it shows that studying English doesn't depend on the world's cooperation, but on your decision. And ultimately, this connects with an even more liberating truth. There's no need to isolate English from life because it can be present even in the most mundane activities. 6. The multitasking myth. Many people still believe they need a perfect environment, absolute silence, and free time to study English. This is one of the biggest illusions that hinders progress. The myth of multitasking isn't about doing everything at once in a chaotic fashion, but about believing there's only one ideal scenario for learning. The reality is that English can infiltrate your existing tasks without taking up extra time. Want to see how this works? While you exercise, you can listen to an English podcast. On the bus, you can practice mentally repeating phrases or even use vocabulary apps. When you're washing the dishes, you can practice thinking in English by mentally narrating what you're doing. I'm washing the dishes. I'm cleaning the glass. This kind of integration transforms rote moments into practice opportunities. And the most interesting thing is that by practicing this way, English stops being something separate from your life and becomes part of it. You don't have to wait for the ideal opportunity. You create a natural immersion routine. And the more this happens, the clearer the shift in mindset becomes. It's not about wasting time, but about investing every moment in something that multiplies your future. 7. The time investment mindset. It's time to shift gears. It's not about spending time, it's about investing time. When you view English learning as an expense, it feels like a burden, an obligation that competes with other tasks. But when you shift your perspective to an investment, every minute becomes a deposit that earns interest in the future. This simple mental adjustment transforms the way you approach your dedication and increases your motivation. Think about it. A minute today dedicated to reviewing new words can multiply into hours of conversations you'll be able to have tomorrow. 15 minutes a day can lead to job opportunities, easier travel, and even friendships that previously seemed impossible. The return is never immediate, but it's inevitable. Investing in English is planting something that grows invisible at first, but explodes in results when you least expect it. And this perspective even changes the sense of urgency, because when you understand that you're not just wasting time, but multiplying possibilities, it becomes clear that you can't postpone. Investing now generates dividends that accumulate. And this accumulation has a powerful effect. It not only creates opportunities, but also increases your energy, making each study session more productive. And it's precisely in this connection between energy and time that the next secret lies. 8. The energy-time connection. Have you ever noticed how some days half an hour seems to yield triple the amount of results, and others when you spend a whole hour and feel like you haven't made any progress? The difference isn't in the clock, but in your energy. When you're rested, motivated, and focused, time expands. The opposite also happens. Fatigue, distraction, and discouragement shrink any study block until it seems pointless. So it's no use just looking for gaps in your day. You need to be mindful of how you find those gaps. Small daily victories act as fuel. Finishing a pending task, organizing your study space, or even starting with something simple in English, like rereading phrases you've already mastered, generates momentum that leaves you more motivated to continue. Energy doesn't just appear, it's created through movement. Want some real practice? Instead of opening your phone automatically first thing in the morning, choose a short activity in English that awakens your mind. Reading an inspiring quote, listening to 2 minutes of audio, repeating a phrase that resonates with you. It may seem small, but this small burst of energy reorganizes your perception of time and transforms any study into something more productive. And it's precisely this renewed energy that will allow you to identify what's draining your minutes without you realizing it. Topic 9. The time thief investigation. If you really want to understand why you never have time left, you need to start a serious investigation. There are time thieves operating in your routine without you even realizing it. They don't appear with masks or crowbars, but they're always lurking. Notifications flashing on your phone, people engaging in endless conversations, tasks that seem productive but lead to no results. The curious thing is that these thieves rarely steal entire hours. They attack in minutes, but they completely undermine your day. The first step is to identify the suspects. Try this. For 2 days, write down every interruption that occurs while you study or work. This exercise alone will open your eyes to patterns you never imagined. You might notice that you unlock your phone 20 times in an hour, or that you respond to messages that could have waited. This awareness is like turning on a light in a room where everything was previously dark. Neutralizing these thieves doesn't require radical measures, rather intelligence. You can silence notifications at specific times, put your phone in another room while studying, or even let people nearby know you're unavailable for half an hour. The point is to assume the role of investigator and also judge. Only you can decide what deserves your time. When these thieves are controlled, your routine becomes lighter, and every minute you recover becomes a deposit in your future time bank. Topic 10. The future time bank. Imagine that every minute you invest in English today doesn't disappear when the clock ticks, but is deposited into a special account. This bank doesn't hold money. It holds possibilities. 10 minutes of practice now could turn into a fearless conversation on a trip a year from now. 15 minutes of reading today could be the job interview that opens doors 5 years from now. The future charges compound interest, and only those who sow daily presence reap abundance. What seems small is actually gigantic when viewed from afar. Remember that feeling of, I'm not progressing? It happens because you only focus on the present. But if you could see your accumulated time bank, you'd see a growing wealth. Every word learned is an asset. Every phrase practiced is an investment that no one can take away from you. Today's time is the raw material for tomorrow's victories. And here's the provocation. How much do you already have deposited in this bank? If the answer is almost nothing, it's not too late, because the future hasn't happened yet, but it's already being built with every choice you make. The question isn't whether you'll have time, but how much future time you'll be able to buy with the actions of the present. And this is the shift in mindset that closes this cycle and opens space for a new way of experiencing time. Now that you've realized that time isn't something you find, but something you create, I want to challenge you. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you keep waiting for the perfect hours that never arrive, or will you start creating precious minutes today? The answer isn't tomorrow. It's the next step you decide to take today. Be honest with yourself. What time wasters do you need to cut out now? Where are the hidden spaces in your routine that can be turned into real practice? Think about this seriously, because every choice you make is a deposit in your future time bank. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve lies in the courage to apply, not just understand. So I invite you, apply, test, experiment. Discover for yourself how these concepts can change your relationship with time in English. And, of course, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This way, you can continue learning with me without missing any of the next steps on this journey. After all, the time you dedicate to yourself today is the greatest gift you can give your future.